Points are two numbers in parentheses, and they're x and y. X is the first number, y is the second number. If you're given 2 points, we give them subscripts, which are those little numbers below. So x1, y1 means the first point. x2, y2 means the second point. Slope is the rise over run, and it means how you get from one point to the next point. Okay, find the slope between 2 points. First, we're going to label them x1, y1, x2, y2. Plug in the formula for slope. Slope is the letter M. There's the formula. You take y2 minus y1. On bottom, you do x2 minus x1. So plug in y2 is 8, y1 is 2. x2 is 10, x1 is 1. Subtract. Always reduce a fraction. 6 divided by 9 reduces to 2 over 3. Okay, if you plot those points, you'll see that it goes up from left to right. A positive slope rises. Okay, next example. Find the slope. y2 is 5 minus y1 is 9. We're using the same formula. x2 is 4, subtract x1 is negative 1. Now on that bottom, need to remember that subtract and negative becomes add. Okay, if you plot those 2 points, okay, negative 1, 9 would mean left and up. 4, 5 would mean right and up. We can see that a negative slope falls, meaning it goes down. Okay, what about the slope for these next 2 points? y2 is negative 6, subtract y1 is negative 6. x2 is 6, subtract x1 is 9. Okay, on top we've got that subtract and negative, which turns into add. So we get 0 divided by a number equals 0. Okay, if we graph those, 9 negative 6 means right and down. 6 negative 6 means right and down. We can see a horizontal line. Okay, a horizontal line. Let me rewrite that as messy. Okay, what about 3, 4, and 3, 7? y2 minus y1 would be 7 minus 4. x2 minus x1 would be 3 minus 3. Anything divided by 0 is undefined. Okay, so 3, 4 means right 3 up 4. 3, 7's right 3 up 7. So we see an undefined slope is a vertical line. Okay, to graph, using the slope and the y-intercept, what about y equals 3x plus 2? The number in front of x is the slope. The number that is just a number is the y-intercept. Okay, so 3 is the slope, the y-intercept is 2. The y-intercept means if you plug in 0 for x, okay, you would get 3 times 0 is 0 plus 2 is 2. So when x is 0 is plugged into the equation, you get y equals 2. Okay, that means over 0 up 2. Now the slope is 3. Slope is rise over run, so we need to change it to a fraction. A whole number can be written over 1. Okay, so what does the slope mean? It means you start at the point 0, 2, you go up 1, 2, 3 spaces, and right 1 space. Okay, so you'll land at that blue dot. Okay, slope means start at your first point Rise means up, run means over to the right. Okay, so from our first dot, count up 1, 2, 3 spaces and count right 1 space. Okay, what about y equals minus 3x plus 1? The slope is negative 3, the intercept is 1. The intercept means if you put in x equals 0, that's what you get. Negative 3 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. Okay, that tells us that y equals 1. Okay, that tells us that the point is 0, 1, which means over 0 up 1. Our slope is negative 3, which is negative 3 over an understood 1. So my rise is negative 3 and the run is 1. So you always start at your first point. We're going to go down 1, go down 2, go down 3, and go over 1. Okay, what about y equals 2/3 x plus 1? If you plug in 0, 2/3 times 0 is 0, plus 1 equals 1. Okay, oops, sorry. Okay, so our first point is 0, 1, which is over 0 up 1. The slope is 2/3, which means rise 2, run 3. Always start from your first dot. Okay, slope means start at one dot, go to the next dot. Okay, so starting at our first dot here, go up 1, go up 2, go over 1, 2, 3. Okay, what about if you don't have just a plain number, like y equals 2/3 x? If you plug in 0 for x, you get 0 for y, because 2/3 times 0 is 0. Okay, so our starting point is 0, 0. The slope is 2/3, means count up 1, 2, count right 1, 2, 3. If y is not by itself, you have to solve for y. That's called the slope-intercept form. Okay, and it's y equals mx plus b. M is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Okay, m is the number in front of x and b is the intercept. That b could look a little neater. Okay, that's a b. But the slope-intercept form, it has to be y equals. Okay, slope-intercept form, you have to have y by itself, y equals. Okay, so if you have 3y equals 8x, to get y by itself, you would divide by 3 on both sides. Okay, and to graph it, you would do the same thing that we did in those earlier examples. Okay, what if you have 5x plus 8y equals 40, and it says find the slope-intercept form. Okay, find the slope-intercept. Slope-intercept means to get y equals. So first we're going to subtract 5x. Okay, now 40 minus 5x. Okay, remember what you do to the left, you have to do to the right side of that equals. 40 minus 5x is not like terms. I like to put the x first, so I'm going to say minus 5x and then plus 40. Then we need to divide by 8. 5 doesn't divide by 8, so it stays. But 40 does divide by 8 nicely, which equals 5. And that's the end.